Week. Yeah, well, it must be Friday. Welcome to the threshold of the weekend. Hopefully you're not furloughed, because 750,000 federal workers are facing that reality on what is now day 3 of a government shutdown. And as Charlie just mentioned, yep, we got another one. They got another speedboat. I'm looking at the video right now. Post on Twitter from the Secretary of War, as he calls himself on Twitter, Pete Hegseth, @SecWar. Earlier this morning, on President Trump's orders, I directed a lethal kinetic strike on a narco-trafficking vessel affiliated with designated terrorists in the U.S. Southcom area of responsibility. 4 male narco-terrorists aboard the vessel were killed. You see this speedboat bumping through the water. Wow, there's nothing left of that, huh? How do they know it's going to the U.S. if it's right off the coast of Venezuela? I'm still trying to figure that out, and also understand how we know what's on these boats. Looks like a scene out of Miami Vice. This after Donald Trump, by the way, told Congress that he was up to this. On Truth Social, I'm pleased to advise that I reversed the cuts made to Homeland Security counterterrorism for New York City and state. It was my honor to do so. Another story that we've been talking about here, with the idea that the president is pulling funding on certain projects from blue states to kind of turn the screws here and increase the pressure. The president apparently is looking for more cowbell as well. Did you see the video on Truth Social? For those who suggest that Russ Vought is not looking to do some cutting here, check this video out. He's been getting a lot of AI-generated videos. Now imagine Donald Trump wearing a black hood, playing cowbell over the old tune, Don't Fear the Reaper, but they changed the words up here. Russ Vought is the Reaper. He wields the pen, the funds, and the brain. Here comes the Reaper. J.D. Vance playing drums in the band. It's quite a production. Kathy Hochul doesn't like any of this. The governor of New York is watching funds be pulled from her state. And of course, we've got Chicago now as well, remembering that this was like $18 billion for infrastructure in New York State. Here's what the governor thought about it.
Culture wars over the tens of thousands of jobs that we've created with these infrastructure projects that were literally talked about for decades, that we finally could get moving, create jobs and opportunity, and take care of infrastructure challenges that others were too timid to take on in the past. So that's what a partnership with Washington looks like as we're standing here. We've done our part. We're ready to build.
On to Chicago, where Russ Vought announces the withholding of more than $2 billion for transportation projects in the city. Those put on hold include a red line extension, the red and purple modernization project. Vought citing a need to ensure funding is not flowing through DEI-based hiring. This is where we start with our panel today, because this is real. The government shutdown may not be impacting the economy yet, but these funds were allocated for specific infrastructure projects. And we're joined right now by Bloomberg Politics contributors Jeannie Shanzano and Rick Davis. Jeannie is Democracy Visiting Fellow at Harvard Kennedy School's Ash Center. Rick is our Republican strategist partner at Stone Court Capital. How concerned should we be about this, Jeannie? If this becomes the new political weapon, withholding funding from infrastructure projects, Democrats could do the same thing. And bridges are already falling down in this country, I thought, aren't they?
They certainly are. And Joe, where is Taylor Swift? That's why I logged in. Life of a Showgirl is out today. I thought you were going to break the internet with some Taylor.
God.
Maybe in the next hour. I think one of the things we know is that somebody described this as, look at what you made me do. Russ Vought is going around telling everybody, with the shutdown Democrats, look what you made me do. But the reality is that Russ Vought actually has been doing this long before, right? There was the $4 billion cut for California. They have been punishing blue states since they got into office. And he knows this is illegal, because that's why he had to say, we're doing it for DEI reasons. He's not saying he's doing it because of the shutdown. He's saying he's doing it for DEI reasons because he knows that in a normal Supreme Court, this would be unconstitutional. So this is a part of a long-term approach and policy by this administration. And I'm just very grateful that the president has now admitted that he has read Project 2025, which Russ Vought helped write. And this is a fulfillment of that. These are long-term plans that they are now pretending Democrats made them do because of the shutdown. And in fact, there's absolutely no reason to tie the two together.
Does this worry you, Rick? Remember when the infrastructure bill passed that was supposed to be the one bipartisan thing going on in this country? Joe Biden used to talk about how Republicans love showing up for ribbon cuttings because everybody loves infrastructure improvements. D's and R's both drive over bridges, as they say. What's going on here?
Yeah, and Joe, even dial it back a little further, throughout the Trump administration, the first term, he talked about, this is going to be infrastructure week. We're going to get something done on infrastructure. 4 years of that, nothing got done. So when it finally did get done, as you say, in a bipartisan fashion, everybody kind of wiped their brows and said, wow, thank God that's over. We can get going and build out the America the way it needs to be competitive. I think this is going to have a bad effect on the administration's popularity. There's nothing like a good infrastructure bill to make people feel like their government's finally doing something for them. And the idea to target those things, regardless of whether they're in blue states or not, it is really a big step backwards, right? I mean, there's a lot of chaff we could cut out in order to make, the shutdown not affect you, the American public. No, we're not going to do that. We're actually going to go after you, the American public, and shut down projects that would actually benefit you. And then to pull a heist like they did just now, where the president said, oh, and by the way, I am going to reinstate some funds for my policing powers in New York City, but I'm not going to do anything for those people in New York. Is betraying some success that he had electorally in New York that they're probably not going to see again because of this.
J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, Jeannie, who's been out front on the National Guard and any number of other issues here, trying to raise his profile, presumably as a foil here for Donald Trump, writes, at a time when federal agents are sowing chaos in Chicago, the Trump administration is holding bipartisan funding hostage. It's attempting to score political points, but is instead hurting our economy and the hardworking people who rely on public transit to get to work or school. What do members of Congress, and specifically Republicans, think about this, Jeannie? That's not good for the home district, is it?
It's absolutely not. And I know one of the friends of this show, Mike Lawler, he is a Republican in New York. Yeah. I mean, this impacts people like that in New York, in Illinois, in California, all across the board. And of course, that's how the Republicans got the House, is by winning so many of those purple districts in blue states. And so this is a dangerous game. That said, again, this is a long-term plan by Russ Vought. I mean, I keep saying, Joe, I think Russ Vought has wanted to do this since he was an infant, and he has finally got in his way, and he has been gleeful about it. If you look at the cuts he made before this even occurred, so well before the shutdown, the green energy programs he has cut, all targeted in these blue states, although they will roil over into Republican territory. It is something that he has wanted to do, and this is the price that Donald Trump will play, or the Republicans, because he won't be on the ballot again, electorally, as Republicans begin to feel this. Because let's not forget, there are a lot of Republicans who are building bridges, building infrastructure, own construction companies. All of them will be impacted by these cuts, not to mention the federal workers who they are threatening to fire. They are not all Democrats. There is a lot of Republicans.
Kind of a funny childhood dream, right? I'm going to grow up one day to cut costs. Mike Lee said yesterday he's been wanting to do this since puberty. Rick, I don't know if you saw the video I was referencing on Truth Social here. Remember the old Blue Oyster cult, Don't Fear the Reaper? So there's a bit of a mixed message, because we're hearing from the White House, to your point, Jeannie, don't make me do this. But you've got Russ Vought, while Donald Trump's playing cowbell and JD is playing the drums, Russ Vought walking around town holding a scythe, suggesting that this is very much something that he wants to do. Do you fear the Reaper in this case, Rick? And what do you make of the video?
First of all, I hope we finish this session today with a strong Blue Oyster Cult rendition of the
You know we're
79 hit.
Not going to let you
But
down.
two, I'm a little surprised anybody would get away with casting Donald Trump as Will Ferrell in that scene. One, his shirt wasn't anywhere tight enough to be playing cowbells on Blue Oyster Cult, Fear the Reaper. And I hope everyone looks it up because it's one of the great videos of all time out of Saturday
It's
Night
pretty
Live.
weird.
But the end game is these are the things that get them a step backwards. I mean, Republicans were cringing this morning. I was on the phone with a couple of guys from the House this morning, and they were like, "Oh my God, you see this thing they put out on the White House?" I mean, like, that's the last thing these guys need is this kind of distraction. Because even though they want to be tough and they want to get a deal done and they want to get government reopened, these are the kinds of things that make a discussion, a healthy discussion, a bipartisan discussion, that much more difficult. Me, I loved it. I want to see more Blue Oyster Cult at the White House, but they got to get in the right outfits. It's not Grim Reaper. It's tight polo shirts.
They're still touring in some oldies thing, right? Jeannie, they could maybe play on the South Lawn for the president. I mean, we could joke about this because it is actually funny. He's got a strange obsession with these AI videos. Who's giving him the thumb drive and who's posting this stuff? It goes up without comment. It's not a repost. It's actually on his feed. Does this blow back on the president, this kind of video, Jeannie, or does everybody just expect this from now on?
Yeah, I mean, the messaging is really hard. We heard Mike Johnson out and somebody asked him about this and he said, oh, the administration, the president, they're just joking, just having fun. But this is serious. These are people's lives. These are all of our lives. We all depend on the federal government. I think, the videos can be funny when you look at them, but certainly the situation is not funny. And Joe, I have to say, please go out on Taylor Swift. I love the SNL skit, but it is Taylor's day today. Amanda and I say, so please go out. And
Amanda's going to be
Kaylee's
so
watching
disappointed. God, I thought about Kaylee when I saw that the album dropped. I'm really happy for Kaylee and Amanda. God love you guys. But I'll tell you what, Matt's got this figured out. Blue Oyster Cult is playing Halloween in Vegas. James, they're going to the Golden Nugget. I think we got plans. Hey, Rick, more cowbell. This is what it's all about on a Friday on Balance of Power. Don't fear the Reaper. We've still got another hour, and our panel's going to stay with us right here on Bloomberg. How about these two, Rick Davis and Jeannie Shanzano, and the Blue Oyster Cult? What else do you want here? We'll welcome our global television audience coming up, only here on Bloomberg.